Good evening, gang. Chucky, PB, Richard, what's up, fellas? And we got McMurray on here, and I'm here. And what we're going to do this evening is I picked up a few new things, and I'm going to show you what I got here. And then McMurray is going to talk to you all about that game he's showing in the window right there called Guadalajara. So if you have any questions, y'all know what to do. Fire them in the comments, cuss at us, holler at us, whatever you need to do to get your point across. But I'm gonna flip it into my view for right now, and let me turn on my old camera thing here. I'm gonna flip it over to my other camera, and I'm gonna show you a couple things I picked up here, and then we'll turn it over to Murray and let him go to town. All right, so check it out.
You should flip to mainly your camera because I'm just sitting here trying to get mine set up.
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, it did. All right, hold on.
We can change to your other camera. There you go.
Boom. There it is. All right. So I've actually picked up like 5 or 6 games, and I got a couple special ones here. And I call them, they're Grail games. There's no doubt about it, okay? So I got a couple up there in a box. I'm not going to pull them down, but Charles, this one's for you. I'm going to expect you to buy this because I know you don't like Goss because you probably don't have the room for it, although I think you might now. They now have a one mapper called it's the Battle of Hainaut or Hainaut, however you want to say it, in France in 1940. Big 5/8 inch hexes, and the counters are 1/2 inch, and they're calling it Goss Light. And it's a new release in their World at War magazine. I think it was like, I don't know, $40 or something I paid for it. And I picked up another game while I was on that site that's called Gross Deutschland Panzers. It's a Joe Youst game, and it looks like it's got 2 maps that are separated in the middle, and it's an East Front game. So I think it was like $50, I want to say. So I got those 2. You all know I got all them from Barbarossa. All that stuff's punched and ready to go. And of course, I've been plodding around trying to find my own copy of SCS Ardennes. And Richard, who's on here right now, he found that Noble Knight had 3 copies of it, starting at $50 and less. So I picked up this puppy right here, SCS Ardennes. Half of it's punched already. Yeah, it's a Bulge game, but it's in the standard combat system. And this is one of the early ones. This thing was made in like 1994. Yeah.
It's really early, yeah.
Well, when is it? I can't read.
Isn't it like number 3 or something?
Yeah. Yeah, game number 3. Let me see. All right, there we go. Glasses, I can see. Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah.
Like they're
it says it's 5-03, but when was this stinking thing made? It was 19. Oh my God, no, that ain't it. Well, I don't see it, but if anybody can find the date,
I'll find it. You keep going.
Out.
I'll find it.
Anyhow, but that's Bulge. That's Bulge 1944. So, like I say, in the standard combat series. So, even without playing or setting up, this thing's got to be good. All right.
94.
94. Okay.
On the front of the rulebook, Jeff.
Wow. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, the rule book, yeah. Well, that's
like the first.
I can't open it.
Oh, that's fair.
Because then you'll see the catastrophe. No, I got everything out of it. Oh, I love those dice. Oh, those aren't the original. Don't MMP uses a red and a white dice, don't they?
Yeah, they're little 16 mil guys. Oh, look at you! You got aftermarket dice.
Yeah, wow. I like those little round dice. So that's Ardennes SCS added to my collection. There's a couple more out there I want.
We're playing that in December.
So Richard on here right now, I love his last name because in my opinion, he is a champion. He contacted me, left me a contact in one of the YouTube comments, and I got around to contacting him. And then I let it sit for a day or 2, and he got back to me again. And I called him, and he had a couple of nice offers. He didn't tell me what they were at first, but he had a couple of nice offers. So before I even show it, the couple of you that are here that have known me for a little while, what game would Hexy love to have? I'll give you all a second to think about that one. What Grail game would Hexy love to have had? That he bitched about people getting their hands on it, and I can't seem to get one.
Oh, what's the Civil War game?
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting on me to show you that one, so
you're a dick.
I grabbed a couple of games from Richard, Yeah, actually, I think Richard, what I get? I got like 5 of them, I think, total coming from you. Here's another Joe Youst game. I'm not going to take it out of the bag yet, but I was messing with it. And this is a monster game. And this is called Spires of the Kremlin, I believe. And this was Joe Youst again, the same guy that did Gauss and a bunch of other games. But this is titled his East Front Battles series rules. So now I'm curious about what other games were in this series, if there were any other ones in this series. But this was Joe designed this one working for 3W. And this looks like it was done in it said copyright 93 and 95. But this is a monster game on the East Front. And I got to assume this is, I think, Richard, we talked about that. This is out in front of Moscow at the end of 41, beginning of 42. So I'm going to pretty much say Richard pretty much gave me this game. All right. So you can't ask for anything better. But yes, it is going to get better. Because not only did I get this game from him, he added this game here. All right. First edition of Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2. So I got this one from Richard, and I took the box off and just looked at the basic. Look, come on, man. This thing ain't punched. I think there's a couple of trays, or at least a tray in the bottom of it. Look how full this box is. Well, you can't have Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2 without having the master Grail game of the OCS series, which, yes, Hexy will get around to playing it. Don't know if I'll get a campaign because I don't think my 5x6 table's big enough, but I got it. I got that baby right there. And yes, it is unpunched. It is in great. Come on, guys. This game was made in, 1695 or something like that. I don't know when this one was made either. 1988. No, that's when they were. Here it is. Right here, like Murray says. 2007. In this game, I'm not going to box everything. I'll probably do that later. But I'm going to tell you right now, this puppy is unpunched and everything else. And you know how I am. I feel like I'm not gaming if I don't have a game to clip and punch. But look at this. Come on. Case blue. I finally have it. Richard, thank you so very much. I don't know what Richard's stand is on if he's got other games. First off, if he's got other games to go out, I'm not telling none of y'all until I find out if he's got some more stuff that I want to get from him, because he knows he does. He's got a bunch of stuff I'd love to have. So that's what I picked up from him. And Richard, I really do appreciate that, man. That you and I have talked about on the phone. Case Blue it's a Grail game. There are a lot of people out there who want to get their hands on it. A lot of people don't because it's just too big for them to play. But granted, I know a lot of the OCS newer stuff is excellent looking material, excellent counters, typical MMP maps, which to me are awesome. But that's just one of those games. Come on, man. East Front, that entire operation, that you can't beat that. So, Richard, again, thank you very much. Like I say, Richard's up in Michigan. He's up there near old John Longshore. So, and we're probably bumping heads with somebody tonight, I'm sure. Because I don't know who it is. Somebody does something on Monday night, but we got McMurray on here, who's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to talking about any game he happens to pull out or any miniature thing he happens to pull out. But McMurray's a nighttime cop, so we got to get him when we can get him. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip the cameras back over to McMurray, and I'm going to let him talk about what are you going to talk about?
All right, so I feel bad after that intro because we're looking at SCS's Guadalajara. Can you see the entirety of this?
I'm going to give it to you. Hold on.
Okay.
All you.
Can you see this pretty well?
Looks good.
All right, cool. I feel bad about that intro because I don't know very much at all about the Spanish Civil War. But again, so we've played plenty of SCS in World War II, played Rock of the Marne. I had Drive on Paris set up, but I wound up pulling it down real quick to play something else. I don't remember what it was. So we played both World Wars and SCS. We're going for between them, Spanish Civil War. Okay. Should be pretty cool. There's some mixed reviews. I know some people despise it. Some people really like it. I feel like it's just kind of a weirder settings. So if somebody really likes World War II, this obviously is going to be, different. Is the lighting okay here? Or do I need more light?
No, it looks good. You got just a slight glare on the box, but it's still completely legible and it's clear.
How about? Come on.
Whatever's overhead. No, that's too much. There you go. That'll work. That was fine right there. It was just a tiny little bit. It wasn't bad. You can still see everything perfectly.
Okay.
What's up, Stevie?
But yeah, so this is number 11. So that puts it right before Rock of the Marne. I don't remember what number 10 was. Anyways, so about the mid-range in terms of SCS games in the series. All right, so we got some stuff. This is kind of weird. There's extra stuff. There's errata. That looks like a review for it. This is, again, so I got this and I have not opened it because we're doing an unboxing. So this is used. So somebody was nice enough to print out errata. And then it looks like an introduction. It says review by Rich Irwin out of Paper Wars. So I'll read that sometime later. We've got, see here, these are the standard SCS dice. I think they're 16 mil. I don't remember. No, they're not. They're like 11. But so those are standard SCS dice. One white, one red. Counter sheet. Oh, God, Jeff. Can you see that? You know what's on these counter sheets? I can't believe it. There's DG markers. Anyways, some cool stuff. There's a bunch of reserve markers, which should be interesting. Those are in... those play a big part in Stalingrad Pocket, just in terms of imparting shifts and stuff like that. We've got, they look like trucks, maybe armored cars here. I'd have to look really close at that. And then some more on this side. So what I believe this conflict in the Spanish Civil War is an Italian unit against obviously some Spanish units. Yeah. So again, this is interesting. I think, so it's, I believe they're Italians on the side of the fascists in the Spanish Civil War. So you can see we got Italian flags mixed in with everybody else. And then Republican forces on this side, I would assume in the different color for the Spanish Civil War. So again, this should be pretty cool. Looks like we've got an armored train over here for the Republicans. That ought to be cool. And just all kinds of stuff. It should be a unique sort of experience. You know what I mean? Not the kind of thing that you necessarily see like, ooh, we got a lot of, well, looks like we got a fair number of one-step units, which is always a cool thing.
Now, I have played it, and I'm not even sure why I bought it because it really, that theater, I guess you would call it, that portion prior to World War II is not, and there's Todd, was not part of my, I don't know, it wasn't my timeline, but I played the game, and as I started to get a couple of turns into the game, I realized this is fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not super duper interested in the Spanish Civil War, but I really like the system. It should be pretty fun to just kind of see what we can do, what we can find, how they encounter stuff. So as I'm looking at this, I noticed that, God forbid, there are some pretty unique, unit symbols on here. And I'm seeing that we got various flamethrower equipped units for the fascist side, which is pretty wild. We got some anarchists over here on the Republican side. As again, I'm looking at the unit symbols and markers because, God forbid, I don't have every one of those memorized. I apologize, dear viewers. But anyways, so that should be pretty cool. We've got all kinds of different, again, the weird motley assortment of, what we're looking at and what we're not, and the forces that were drawn into the Spanish Civil War are pretty wild. So we've got some German forces over here on the Republican side. The air markers, now that I'm looking at them, appear different for each side. So we got like a biplane over here on the Republican side. We got a biplane. What looks like a standard fixed wing fighter. and then a couple multi-engine guys. Same over here. We've got a multi-engine guy. And what looks like, I can't tell if it's a biplane or a monoplane. But anyways, so yeah, that looks pretty cool.
The airplanes in this game, I will tell you this: the air rules in this game are optional.
Okay, we'll probably. So here's something that we're going to look at now. Then, with that in mind, is the number of scenarios in here, right? Because what I, at least personally, enjoy doing with these games, which I really like about the SCS series for the most part, every one of them I've encountered other than Autumn for Barbarossa, which was originally a magazine game, so I can kind of understand, has smaller scenarios, right, you can play that are introduction or whatever else, in addition to the campaign game. So what I really enjoy doing is I'll take a small scenario or two and I'll play those before playing the full campaign game, just so that I can get used to this book, all of the game-specific rules. So let's look. Our total rule book length for this bad boy, including all the design notes, is a whopping 16 pages. Wow, there's a lot of design notes in here, too, in the back. Look at that. The last 4 pages of that are historical notes. That's pretty wild. God, look at that. Typeface, too. Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but my first experience with the Spanish Civil War was that game right there. And I don't know why, but there's the name Franco that sticks in my head. And other than that, I don't know anything about, because this was what, 38, 39? When was this?
Guadalajara. This is 1937.
37, okay.
Francisco Franco was the fascist dictator of Spain.
Okay. Ernest Hemingway.
Probably what we're getting. Hey, what up? It is Toddy.
Ernest Hemingway. Pablo Picasso. These are names I know.
Guernica. Yeah. Luftwaffe. Started there being really, really bad guys. But so we've got, again, some your standard, it looks like 6 pages of, game specific rules here at the start. So that's pretty standard for SCS. Nothing weird there. We got a couple of things that are pretty unique to each game in the SCS series we're going to look at in just a second here. So we got one scenario. That's 11 turns. That seems kind of a big one. It says Spain is not Abyssinia. Maybe the Italians will have better luck. So here's one that's the second scenario is 4 turns long. Italian offensive. That might be a good one at 4 turns to just kind of cut your teeth on. Here's another one, Spanish paella, that's 11 turns. So again, that's a longer one. Bolognese sauce. So that's obviously, I'm going to have to play that because, scenario portrays the Republican counteroffensive that broke the spine of the attacking Italian divisions and put them on the run, allowing the Republican Air Force to act as a meat grinder of the retreating columns.
How are you going to play that and cook at the same time?
Bolognese sauce, so I'm probably going to wind up playing that if we're being completely honest here. And so there we go. So it looks like we got 4 scenarios. The campaign game it's usually scenario 1. Spain is not Abyssinia. Yes, this scenario is the Big Banana portraying the full battle. Outstanding. Look at that fun writing.
And Abyssinia was in the desert, right?
Yeah, it's in Africa.
Okay.
It was a colonial holding that the Italians took before this. But anyway, so that's campaign game. I'll probably wind up playing that Bolognese sauce just to see what's going on. Just looking at this, there's a lot of optional rules in here, which are kind of cool. Just looking at what we're seeing, such as Republican political incompatibility. Communist anarchist units are politically incompatible and cannot collaborate. Can't even be stacked. So that's kind of cool. Stuff like that. There's fog of war stuff, which is pretty wild. But anyways, we'll jump back to here. Kind of the stuff that you usually look at. We've got game terms are 1 or 2 days. Each hex is 1 kilometer. We'll look at the map in a minute here. It's usually kind of the end. They do point out what all the different colors on here means. So we've got Spanish Nationalist Army in gray. Cool. Phalangist in blue, or however the hell I'm supposed to pronounce that. Carlist, which is red on white, which I'd assume is maybe these guys. Mixed black on white. These guys, I guess. I thought those were anarchists. I'm not sure. We'll have to get a little deeper into this. Italian Army, pale green. Knew that one. That makes sense. Italian Air Force, blue green. Anyways. And then obviously brown is... Oh, I'm sorry. That's describing these band colors. Anyways. Then Republican People's Army is brown. Communists are bright red. That makes sense. Duh. Anarchists are black. International Brigades are dark red. So that's what we're seeing here. That's where we got some Germans and some French and other stuff. And then Republican Air Force down here. So, okay, so that makes sense. Again, 1 or 2 days for each turn, 1 kilometer. Each unit is company to battalion sized. So that's kind of cool. And what we're looking for here is stacks. Up to 6 steps in a hex. Okay. There you go. So that should be relatively familiar for folks.
What was Day of Days? Was it 10 in Day of Days?
No. Good Lord.
6?
6 or 8, yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Bastogne because you couldn't stack, which is kind of nice. It provided, challenges, but that was kind of nice. Sequence of play looks pretty. Oh, so this is kind of cool. We've got 2 very, very different turn sequences for each side. So the Nationalist turn, movement, reserve, designation, tank repair, barrage, combat, supply, exploitation, cleanup. And then you flip to Republican, you've got air point determination, air interdiction, movement, reserve, saw that, tank, saw that, barrage, combat, Italian morale phase. So that's interesting. You've got an Italian morale phase after the Republicans have the opportunity to conduct combat. That's kind of cool. So you've got nationalist/fascist turn where the Italians are in there, and then you've got a morale phase for that side and the Republican turn as well, which is kind of interesting. Again, it's always fun to see that in SCS games with how this is minorly manipulated, as well as some of the things that we always have to look at and familiarize ourselves. I know when Jeff, Todd, and I are playing, or what are the effects of being out of supply? Attack, defense, and movement are halved. Combat results suffer an additional retreat. Okay, so that's kind of wild. And out of supply artillery cannot barrage. Wow. Units already marked out of supply that are out of supply in the next friendly supply phase suffer attrition. Wow. So supply is not just kind of important here, because stuff can start dying. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. Well, obviously Jeff caught that. Sorry. But Todd, that's pretty wild. And then DG units, which means disorganized in this game, which not every game in the SCS series has. The vast majority of them do.
I didn't catch that thing you said there. Sorry. The not the DG thing, but the thing right before it.
Oh, so out of supply units that are out of supply for 2 turns can suffer attrition.
Oh, sweet. I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, isn't it?
That is in some games. I don't think it's I haven't seen any SCS games with it, but it's in some, but not very many.
We got it right here. We do have DG. DG in here is attack, barrage, defense, and movement allowance are halved. Okay, so that's pretty common. DG units don't have a zone of control, can't exploit. Okay, that's pretty common. During the cleanup, so at the end of each turn, you pull your own DGs off. That makes sense. Out of supply effects, that's kind of interesting, though. Out of supply units still have a zone of control.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's, I think, out of supply. That's standard, isn't it?
I think that's pretty standard. It's DG that doesn't usually have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
All right, jeez.
Yeah, come on, McMurray. Don't you
know? You tell me there was no attrition rules on the paratroopers in Bastogne?
Nope.
There
aren't even supply rules in Bastogne.
Wow. Yeah, Bastione's not a good one to look at. I mean, I could see it in like maybe Ardennes, but you guys own that. I don't. So.
Or like Day of Days, I could see that happening with attrition with paratroopers, where they could legitimately be cut off for a long time, or it never snows. But I don't remember that. But then we got, again, all kinds of wild stuff like flamethrowers that plays their own, their own stuff or their own role, which is kind of entertaining. I feel like that's usually just abstracted, but anyways, so that's cool. There's a lot of special rules in here. Sometimes you've only got 3 or 4 pages. You've got 6 in Guadalajara, which again I can kind of understand because it's to a certain extent unexplored country for this series. Rules version 1.7. I don't know what actually the differences fully are between 1.7 and 1.8, but yeah. Oh, cool. So we've got a playwright card. It's got all kinds of stuff. So here's that attrition table. Wow, on a 5-up, you lose a step. So that's not good. Wow. And +1 if it includes an Italian volunteer unit, +1 if it includes tanks, -1 if all units are communist, international, or nationalist, and -1 if it includes 1 or more HQs. So Italian volunteers and tanks are more likely to suffer interdiction or attrition. That's pretty wild. Sorry, I was reading interdiction right here. So that's pretty cool. The combat table here only goes from 1 to 2 up to 4 to 1. Wow.
Yeah,
So
it's not a very big table. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't even my normal. Man, I wish it was more than 5 to 1. This is only 4 to 1. Artillery and air points, as opposed to being, almost a shot in and of itself in say Bastogne or something, where you choose to shoot basically your artillery at something, then you can DG and then possibly kill. This goes back to some of the earlier stuff like Stalingrad Pocket, where you add up the total number of points you're hitting a hex with, and then you roll for results. So that's kind of cool. Tank versus tank combat table, tank after combat table. So that's kind of like in Rock of the Marne, where after combat in Rock of the Marne, if a tank was involved, a tank unit, they were just flipped and had to be repaired. Here, tanks have advanced a little bit, so they're not automatically disabled, but it's possible. So that's kind of cool. And then standard terrain effects down here at the bottom. We've got division morale track, which I would assume is for that Italian CCTV division or whatever it's called. Is it actually CC? I'm going to feel like a dick. CTV. Not CCTV. I apologize.
I'm looking for cameras now.
What?
I'm looking for cameras now.
Right now it's weird. This map is pretty clear, pretty cool. We've got again, it's kind of nice. We've got all the same, or a bunch of the same tables up here, which is nice. It's cool that they did that, and then they included a sheet. So if you're playing with 2 people, one person obviously has the table pointed at them, the other person can have theirs flipped. We've got a turn track here. That's pretty outstanding. There's March 16, 17, 1937. You can play St. Paddy's Day. Wow. So it's a pretty easy to read, clear map. It's got that older SCS feeling that I kind of really like, where it's not quite as, detailed and, in depth as, man, Day of Days is a beautiful map if I were going to want to hang it on my wall. But it's kind of, or at least for me, it was kind of rough to track on. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is really clear, really easy. You've got victory points denoted nice and clearly on the table or on the map. That's awesome. Everything's clear. You got really clear where, okay, that's obviously a bridge. Here's obviously a bridge. We got red. That's outstanding. I'm a big fan of this map. Not even going to attempt to pronounce anything on here other than maybe tank, barrage, stuff like that. If we do any sort of live play or review of this play, you guys are going to get to hear some wild pronunciations, and I apologize in advance to anyone who is hailing from Spain or familiar with that language, because I am going to butcher it. Good looking map, single map. Yeah, it's pretty cool. One thing that I do want to look at real quick before we leave this map is one thing that was in Rock of the Marne is some of the rivers were far more important than others. Nope, here we just got minor rivers and major rivers. Okay. We do, however, have them. So in all actuality, an infantry unit can expend all of its movement to just cross a major river. Does not need a.
There's some movement restrictions in this game, but the one cool thing I notice is that your Italians, when they're on the move in this game, they're kind of funneled.
Yeah, I noticed that there were Italian special rules for traffic jams.
Yeah, and they get funneled down that little valley.
As opposed to in, Bastogne, where it's just everything's a traffic jam. They don't need special rules. It's just terrible. But I'm excited to play this. I don't think I usually, as you guys I'm sure have noticed watching Todd's stuff and occasionally the old Rockies War Room and watching Jeff's stuff, I enjoy playing games kind of at the same time of the year they were happening historically. I don't think I'm going to get to March before I want to play this. Especially with it being an 11-turn game with a single counter sheet. This might just make a surprise appearance and get on the table and get played over, a long weekend or if I've got a few days off. So,
well, it is. Everybody say hi to Michaela. Michaela works with me.
Michaela, what's going on?
Oh, hi, Michaela.
So
Todd had to make it awkward.
Awkward?
The coolest thing I found with this that was interesting to me was because, and I didn't know it until I was playing it, this is the first heavy use. Well, we'll call it heavy because it was the first real use of armored formations.
Yeah, and motorized stuff. I was seeing that. That's what this Italian division is. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
What was the historic outcome of this fight, though? Did the Italians pull it off, or did the Spanish shut them down? I never think I ever read that.
That's the thing. The Italians were with the Spanish, but let's see here. The unexpected and dogged resistance to the Republican Army, which was fully involved in a deep reorganization, caused the failure of this offensive, forcing the Nationalists, who also had the Italians on their side, to give up trying to storm the capital, making them take the long road by capturing the whole country before being able to declare themselves victorious. So, despite the fact that the Nationalists and Fascists did ultimately win the Spanish Civil War, this looks like a significant setback for them.
So the Italians actually did win something during World War II.
This is pre-war, and they did not win this.
Oh! Thanks for setting me straight.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, the Scs soldiers did not do particularly great here, it would appear. Hopefully we have an Italian viewer or two is not just raging into their...
Well, Michaela, she's Italian.
Oh, well, Michaela, I apologize that I've already run off our newest viewer by calling the Italians in pre-World War II the Scs soldiers.
She's a direct bloodline descendant of Caesar. So.
Or the Pasta Boys. Your call. The real question that I forgot to look at is what do reserve markers do in here? Because again, I mentioned that that's something that I saw in Stalingrad Pocket. Haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of since. They allow units to access exploitation. So that's kind of cool, actually. So no unit in here is intrinsically exploit capable, which is kind of weird because usually if you've got this yellowy color on here, you're exploit capable. But here, this yellow box only means that you can be made exploit capable if you get a reserve marker on you. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that threw me off when I opened this game and I saw the reserve markers. I'm like, I thought this was for OCS only.
No, again, they're in Stalingrad Pocket too. And they basically are just, they're a combat advantage. You can do some extra stuff, but
it's kind of cool how in this thing here, how the Spanish forces arrive, and so I think I caught myself when I played this one on the map there to the entry points where the Italians are. You kind of have to spread them, I think, south below that southern river because the Spanish will eventually the Spanish, I think they have off-board movement where you can move out of an entry area and then a turn later you can come back in on another entry area on the same side of the map.
Oh man, Paul, that sounds kind of like a game that I know Paul
John.
What?
John Longshore. Hey.
Hey, it's John Longshore. What's up, John? So let's see here. Yeah, down here on the south side, which you guys can't really see down here, we've got a number of entry hexes. Let's flip to the first scenario and see what we've got for that. So we've got Republican forces coming in at B, which is over on this side in the south west corner, and A, which is up in the kind of northwest, just straight west. Then we've got Italian and nationalist divisions. So we've got some other Republicans coming in at C, which is down here again in the southwest. And then it looks like the Italians and everybody else come in on this side down.
Well, there's some rule in there that slows the daylights out of the Italian forces in their movement. I mean, it really limits them. Peter, good evening. But that, I mean, you look at that map, you got a river on the north half of that map, and you got a river on the south half.
Yes,
and the Italians have got to maneuver forces above and below those two rivers to contain or drive the Spanish that are there out. And I'm going to tell you what, the Spanish can, in little certain sections of those above and below rivers, they can put up a hell of a defense.
Oh, I mean, I would imagine so. I'd imagine as soon as you can get a bridge, hold a bridge, you can really mess with folks, especially because combat across a bridge, as usual, in this game is attacker halved.
Yeah. Well, that terrain was pretty rough from what I understand.
Yeah, dude.
I do, John. I most certainly do, thanks to Richard Chamberlain.
Oh, hang on real quick. John is on here. You did a little bit of hey, somebody awesome sent me some really cool stuff. If you don't mind, I'm going to hop on and do that real quick because I did get a package from John because John is super cool.
Go it.
And awesome. We're going to toss this right down here. I don't have it all immediately to hand.
When was that made again? When did that game come out again?
This game came up in 2006.
Okay.
It is game number 11 in the Standard Combat series, which means it was followed by Rock of the Marne and Bastogne, and then It Never Snows rolled around shortly thereafter, stuff like that.
Thomas, how you doing?
But so John sent a box of fun stuff. Again, it's not all immediately to hand, but we've got Let Al Vorbeck in East Africa, which is part of that same Decision Games mini folio series as the Wilson's Creek that you guys watched me play a little bit of. That's pretty awesome. I know John, again, watched me play parts of that Wilson's Creek and has undoubtedly heard me ranting about playing World War I in East Africa because I have problems and stuff. So that's a quite common miniatures theme for me. One of the other things that he found and sent, which is awesome, is just a whole bunch of 1-1200. We've got GHQ and then some other little stuff. 1-1200 scale metal models, right? Which are
they're not painted yet.
What?
They're not painted yet.
Get out of here! No, not quite. I just got them. Okay, the standard delay between me getting something and then painting it is
2 minutes.
Shut up, Jeff. So there's a bunch of cool sprues from I think maybe War Games Illustrated and other random sprues that John has accumulated, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, lots of them. So plenty of good stuff. A lot of fistful of lead. I can see a lot of fistful of lead taking place. Thanks to that. He sent me a I don't remember if it's sitting on in another room right now. Either a Compass or Decision Games World War I. Again, hex encounter. That's a little more than just straight hex encounters. What is it called?
I want to see that Vorbeck map. Pull that Lital Vorbeck map out.
Okay. I think this is zone control. The lamps are going out. That's what the other game is. So again, these are kind of cool. This one's a different rule set than the Wilson's Creek. This is Hand of Destiny, I think is what they call these rules. But this should be super duper cool.
Okay, so that's point to point. You ought to blow through a game like that.
Yeah, again, kind of like Wilson's Creek. That was a pretty quick game to play once I got a hold of it. This looks pretty fun. I don't know what all these, Oh, so the squares are the different shapes for what kind of terrain it is. That's pretty cool. Damn. So we got plains are squares, jungles are circles, and then the triangles are mountains. That's pretty awesome. We got all kinds of ports and whatnot. Yeah, so we're looking at British East Africa, so that's all the way up in what is now Uganda, Kenya, because, you've got Nairobi, so that's Kenya. All the way down here to Portuguese East Africa, which should be Mozambique now. And then, as always, you've got, as most of you guys have probably heard me ranting about at various points, Lake Tanganyika down the east side of this board, or west side of this board here. So that's always a good time.
They make any hex encounter games for that environment, I wonder?
There is, I've seen a magazine game for it, and I want to get it. Not for Lake Tanganyika. That's almost too narrow a scope, I feel like, for most hex encounter gamers. But there is at least one traditional hex encounter game for Lettow Vorbeck in East Africa. I want to say I saw it. It looked cool. I don't remember if there is if it's a magazine game that I saw or if it's one of the ones that I saw. And then as I was looking at it, I'm like, Board Game Geek, it was, this might be way too complicated for me. But anyways, that'll happen at some point in time. Those of you who are interested in, if you want to hear about playing out the campaign on Lake Tanganyika in late 1914, early 1915, in 1 to 600 using David Manley's astoundingly good Steamer Wars rules, let me know. We can rant about that. Some cool stuff that I'm seeing, however, German Königsberg reinforcements. That's kind of cool. That's a German light cruise that was running all up and down here, eventually getting stuck right here in this Rufiji Delta before being just picked apart by 2 British monitors after sitting there and being a giant pain in the Royal Navy's ass over here on the western edge of the Indian Ocean. It's cool that they've got options for that reinforcement. You should be able to get 5 pretty good-sized heavy field artillery off there because they dismounted the guns off that light cruiser to take them into the bush. As usual, again, so we've got kind of in the same style as like SCS, you've got scenario rules for this particular scenario. Pretty awesome. Cool stuff. That's what we're looking at there. And then Hand of Destiny system rules. There are cards for the Hand of Destiny system, so that should be interesting. Not super used to seeing games that have cards in them. Look at that. Look at that. Can't wait to punch and clip these.
You're gonna blow through that. I think you're gonna. I've never played it. I've only played one point to point, but I had fun with it, and I think you're gonna have a blast with that.
Oh, this should be fantastic. Again, like I was saying, I have seen at least one traditional Hex Encounter East African game. I don't remember what it is, but I get the feeling that, especially after seeing this and playing this, I'm gonna have to hunt that down and give that a shot too. Because damn it, Jeff, I told Todd I was playing one system, and I've stuck to SCS pretty well. There is a minorly obnoxious stack of SCS games here in my dining room, which is where I've got this table set up for playing. But
you still got what? You still got 3 more Cross 5 Aprils games to play, don't you?
I do. So that's what's sitting right here is Shiloh. Shiloh is the next one. I have played Wilson's Creek, not Wilson's Creek, Pea Ridge and First Bull Run.
Right.
Shiloh is next. Then I think I'm going to skip to Bentonville and then play Gettysburg. Kind of when I've got a few days off that I can kind of just blaze through it all in one glorious run, and maybe we'll post periodic updates as we go through that or do something fun with that. But yeah, so yes, I do. I have 3 more games to play through with Across 5 Aprils, which when you sit down and play through them, you can get through some pretty astoundingly quick stuff in that game. which is really nice. Again, I'm still really excited to play for GMT to finish up Rebel Fury, which is the C3I Gettysburg rule set, which apparently is very good and very quick to play.
I'm surprised you haven't jumped on the pre-order for Gettysburg, have you?
I have not. I jumped on Here Come the Rebels, and that's it. And then I think I jumped on the pre-order for whatever the South American Flying Colors expansion is, because they dropped the price of that drastically.
Right.
I jumped on that, which is good.
Yeah, well, I know there's a few games we're all sitting around waiting for. I'm waiting for Into the Woods, obviously, to add to the Great Battles of America. So we're waiting on the expansion for Death Valley. Hopefully that one will get released. I would think soon. Of course, I don't understand how it works. They got Into the Woods has like, what, 1,200 or 1,300. It's like more than 2 times over its needed number, and it still says it's in artwork or something like that. So I don't understand. It seems to me that lately MMP has pushed their stuff out, I would say, quicker, because they popped out, like 4 games within a 2-month period?
I mean, they've been going ham. For watching miniatures games and miniatures companies, the delay that they suffered during COVID, it seems like Hex Encounter stuff it's still affected, obviously, but it certainly doesn't seem like it is extremely as affected as miniatures games were, because a lot of miniatures companies just stopped doing everything. Like even companies as big as Warlord just stopped. Most of the small companies, one-man bands, I was supporting the hell out of, buying everything I could because they didn't care. They were still chugging along. One thing we do need to play, Jeff, is Men of Iron. Rather, you need to learn how to play Men of Iron, so then you teach me, because you said it looked complicated. So
I had it on the table today before I set up BCS and pulled out every map in there, and I did not get Agincourt in there.
You did not get. It's not a full map. It's a 17 by 22.
I don't see anything in that box. I did not get lucky. John, no, I sure don't, John. I mean, I see a couple people pop it up on Concept Marketplace, but
this little fellow,
I'm telling you, man, I don't have that.
The counters are bigger too. They're the 5/8 inch counters. It's like a half counter sheet.
I'm pretty sure I don't. No, I know I don't. Oh no, I do. I'm sorry. Shit.
What the hell, man? People, you are witnessing what Todd and I have to deal with.
Senior citizenship. Leave me alone.
All the time. But
hold on.
Maybe you guys will get to see us fart around with this as we try and stumble our way through Men of Iron.
Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle.
So, given that the only SCS that is not 20th century is Raphia, which is Greek successor states fighting in 217 BC on the opposite side of the Mediterranean from the Carthaginians in the Second Punic War.
The 5/8 inch counters with the Duke of York and all the long bowmen, is that Agincourt?
Yeah, dog. All the long bowmen is definitely Agincourt.
I got it.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the map. It must be hidden. Oh, because it's not one of the regular. Okay.
Yeah, mine was folded up inside of one of the other maps or inside of a book or something. It was hidden like a something or other. But yeah.
All right. I blame John Longshore for confusing me. Gosh, Thomas. So I took Hurtgen down off the table, and I was on tonight with Clay and Steve. We were doing like a kind of a one-player turn walkthrough with me. There's some subtleties that I need. I've got all the basic stuff down for the game, but it's some of the little subtleties. Like I want to say you pointed it out to me about like the mechanized independent units, like the Stug units on the Germans. They need to be adjacent to another unit when they're on the map or something like that in the formation. It's those little things, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Goss, since it's so time consuming, and I'm going to play it using Vassal until I master the rules and I'm flowing through the sequence of play, at least the player sequence of play. And then what I'm going to do is come back to the table and put one of them up on the table and go to town on it again.
Well, not only that, but if you're on Vassal, it seems to me like it'd be a whole lot easier to teach somebody to play something on Vassal, because then you're not having to say, oh, crap, what's that X? What's that counter right there? Because they can just look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe I'm crazy, but it seems like Vassal could be a pretty helpful learning tool. By no means is it the only way to learn stuff, but it seems like it could be, again, just nice because then they could say, no, you can move like this and then move it.
Well, especially a game that size.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find local people who know it. So
Right. I'm fortunate that I got Clay and Thomas. He's another one here that's seems to be pretty handy with Doug Johnson, who, by the way, I saw him in some of Stuka Joe's Consom World walkthroughs with his camera up. He talked to Doug Johnson. So I've got, sort of hands-on with some people that really know it. And yeah, Thomas, it is a good, believe me, I do that's okay. So if I were getting rid of games and I was going to keep a certain series of games, that would definitely be one I would keep because I think there's so much you can do with it. And the detail of it's phenomenal. I think the next thing that I'm going to tackle with Clay and LBW Steve is we were talking about it tonight before I left to get onto here, was the air rules. Eastern Front series, EFS and OCS, they have very good air power rules, but they're really, really simple. And the GOS system to me takes those air rules even deeper. And I feel like if I don't use them, I'm eliminating something from the game that can have a big effect on certain like supply, knocking those truck points down, because those truck points, if you ask me, you correct me if I'm wrong or not, but those truck points are the staple to that system. And so I really want to learn how to master it. I think as far as movement, ground assault, fire support, and those things, even exploit, use of combat reserve, I think as far as the basics of using those, I've got them down pretty good. I don't have any problem going through a turn for the players, but I think mastering some of the AM game turn for each day, mastering some of those phases, that's something I need to work on. And I tell you what, I think I picked up a good part of the game really, really well. But like I say, I needed to, you get one of them funks where you just got to stop what you're doing and move on, play something else. And I've really I've had a serious crush on wanting to play BCS. And so now I got one on the table, and over the next couple of days, I plan on doing something with that. But yeah, GOS is not going to leave my bloodline yet. If I do it, though, you're probably going to see me doing it on Vassal, and it'll just be probably with myself. So
what's new?
Hannah, get it. Actually, I tell you what, guys, I didn't know, but there's a lot of good games that are fairly inexpensive on the World at War and Strategy and Tactics website.
Like magazine games?
Yeah. And it's just pretty much decision games, I think. But like I say, the two that I picked up, and like I say, I only went there to get the Hannah, and they call it GOS Lite. I want to say it was $40 or $39. And I picked that up, and the magazine's nice too. But then I was looking at the boatloads of other games in the magazines they have on there that you can still get. And I don't know about other companies, but I'll say this about decision games and Strategy and Tactics for World at War. A lot of their stuff that most companies would be out of print, they still have them.
I was about to say, they're the folks I signed up to do, or I sent them an email saying that I'd play test. And they said they were adding me to their database. I don't know if that means not this round, but we'll try and get you in the next one because I was a week or so behind. But I saw them put it up on Facebook, and I was, well, screw it, we'll give that a shot.
There you go, Thomas. That's what I got set up. That's what I'm going to learn with. And why do I want to learn with that one? What game do you suppose I really want to play? The Bulge.
Wait,
I want to play the Battle of Bulge.
You like Battle of the Bulge games?
Well, come on.
I think he's just like Bulge.
Yeah, just all. The Bulge. Just the Bulge part.
Gettysburg, Battle of the Bulge, Waterloo. Come on. D-Day. Come on.
Come on, man. You can't beat that. Come on.
$200, John. Which game are you talking about?
Campaign for North Africa?
No, he's talking about Crete.
Who's
Crete
game?
Oh, which one? TSWW? By the way, does John know I gave that to you?
I haven't said anything.
The hell is TSWW?
He does now.
Oh, for a magazine game? That's ridiculous.
Chuck's getting ready to play Agincourt. There you go.
There you go, Chuck. What's up, buddy? You can teach Jeff and I how to do this then. I was about to say, people were paying well over $100 for Autumn for Barbarossa 4 weeks ago.
Well over.
People are paying obnoxious amounts for that Fallschirmjäger expansion too.
So, John, talk to me about Campaign for North Africa. What are you trying to do? Don't tell me you actually want that game.
Yeah, John, what's going on? I don't believe it.
Maybe he's going to play it. What do
I'll guarantee you Clay Stone has 2 copies of it, but he ain't going to part with one of them.
Not unless you can sweet talk him like Jeff.
That's so cool. He sent me that game for my birthday. Now he sent, and then knowing I'm going to have to go get the other 2 in the series.
He's just suckering you in there, gateways. He's a smart guy.
Now I have Operation Mercury. Thomas, have you played any of those GTS games?
No, but you dickheads have me punching Let Out Warbeck now and clipping it.
Don't you give Ardwolf CNA.
What?
Look, Richard's got it. Oh yeah, Richard, you told me that on the phone the other day. I'm telling you what, I'll guarantee you that Richard's basement or his room where he's got a lot of these games from the 70s and 80s and 90s. Now, I don't have the Devil's Cauldron, and I don't think I pre-ordered it or Bastogne, the new ones, or the reprint or whatever. But I do have, matter of fact, Clay Stone sent me Where Eagles Dare, and I had the Beaches one, and I have Operation Mercury. Matter of fact, I have 2 copies of Mercury. Well, no question surrender. What is that? No questions. That's MMP, isn't it? I'm looking across my room here. I got stuff on multiple shelves around here. Okay, so, all right. So I now have Ardennes. I now have those 2 puppies right there. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. All right. I got
a quick question about that. I saw your picture of that. Is that did they reissue that as well?
Case Blue?
GB2? I thought GB2 was the newer box than that.
Oh, yeah, that's version 1.
Oh, okay.
Richard, that's version 1, right?
Yeah, because
I've seen this before.
That's an old box.
Yeah, but he said I haven't been through it yet. Like this thing's filled, but I think Richard was telling me he's got the updated maps in here.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
So I mean, as long as you can play with the new rules and everything.
Oh yeah, Jeff, are we gonna play Africa 1?
I have it.
You had it or have it?
I have it. It's up there on my shelf.
All right.
Oh, did you get it, McMurray?
I'm thinking about it. There's copies of it pretty darn cheap out there.
Oh, Africa 1, not 2. Because 2 is butt expensive.
Yeah, it is. And the new Africa game is friggin' huge. So I don't want to do that, but I'd play a 1.5 map Africa maybe. Especially if it was like $25, $20.
Thomas, why am I not? I'm missing out what you're talking about because I have a game called No Question. But I think the one I'm talking about is MMP. Duh, my bad. That was stupid. I'm sitting here trying to look at GMT games for No Question of Surrender.
No, it's GTS.
My bad.
It's GTS,
yeah.
isn't it?
Who has some fun news from this weekend?
Oh. Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Not me. Nothing going on here.
Hold on a second.
Oh boy.
Well, everybody knows your plight, Todd. You've been making videos about it.
It's self-inflicted.
It is.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take this upstairs to sell. I'll be right back, everybody.
Okay. So the
Here we
reason
go.
I haven't seen Hexy doing too much in the video world is because
Make your picture only. Get your picture up there.
oh yeah, let me do that so y'all can
And
understand.
just see McMurray's hands in mine.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, as most of you know, and a lot of people hate it, I play a lot of golf.
Yeah.
So I've been prepping for the club championship. Now I'm 59. There's a couple other guys down there my age, 1 or 2. They're a couple older that still play in that bracket. Most of them are 20s and 30s. Look who came home with the club champion title.
Every one of you has seen the movie Happy Gilmore. Happy
And
Gilmore.
I got its brother, 2 years ago. So I've won it 2 out of the last 3 years, and I just love it. Thank you.
Jeez. Doug, one of these markers, I shit you not, is just labeled Kraut. That makes me so happy.
Labeled what?
Kraut. K-R-A-U-T. Kraut.
In the game? Thank you, John. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just labeled Kraut. It's one of the German units.
Hey, John, if I won a PGA event, I'd buy you your own copy of Campaign for North Africa. Although you probably got one hiding in a closet there. Thank you, Richard. Hey, so Richard, let me ask you a question while you're on here. If any of the gamers / grognards that pop on here get to looking for something specific, is it okay for me to send you a message with what they're looking for? To see if you may have one you're partying with? Thanks, Peter. All right, so we have seen. I got a couple. Oh, I got a couple more games coming from you too, don't I, Richard? What I get? Enemy at the Gates, and what's the other one? No, was it another OCS? Enemy at the Gates and something else.
Hey, quick question for our viewers: is Jeff breaking up really bad with his sound to anybody else? Or just me?
Please don't tell me that.
No, you're good. That's why I want to make sure. I want to ask the viewers, so we have an answer in a couple seconds here. But
I hope that's my snowball.
What?
That's my Hube's pocket. That's my snowball. So I hope it's not breaking up. No, Thomas says it's good. Well, Raccoon Tycoon.
Awesome. My phone is jacked up.
No, John, I don't own any of the Tycoon series. Is that a popular series? All right. So we all know Todd's moving. He's been putting out premiere painting videos, which I'm sure you all have watched and observed. And his techniques, they don't get any better. Just watch him with his techniques. McMurray, who's playing with Punch Wrap right now, he's converting to Hex and Counter Gaming. He'll be selling all his minis here before long. And me, so the golf season's almost over, pretty much. I got a couple more tournaments to play in there just for shits and giggles, and maybe a couple dollars. But it will be, with wintertime coming in, it'll be back to wargaming, and I hope to start grinding out. I think what I think I need to do is I need to focus on the one game at a time play, so I can get through it. Instead of putting up 3 or 4 like I've always seemed to want to do, which is kind of cool in a way, because then you get bored with one thing, you walk over to another game and take your mind away from the one you're playing and then come back to it later. But I've noticed over the last probably a month or two, I really haven't. Well, of course, Goss can take up everything. So that's off my table. If I'm going to Goss for the time being until I finish the rules, it'll be on Vassal. And I'm really thinking about, I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, but I'm thinking about doing instructionals and just using the rule book. Because I think the one I did for Exploit was pretty good because I did it right out of the rule book. I think another problem I was having with the rules is that a lot of the people that are playing it weren't using the updated rules, and I was. And it was causing a conflict between me trying to get answers because somebody was telling me I was doing something wrong. It was just because we were looking at 2 different rule sets. That's all it was. So, but fortunately, like I said, I've got Clay and I've got Steve. Doug Johnson, I can message him and he'll straighten me out. Thomas there helps out with some stuff. So there are some people out there that know the stuff inside and out. You just got to make sure that when you're discussing it, that they understand what rule sets you're looking at. Shit, John, where were you moving to? Antarctica? How's your wife going to have the last chance garage sale if you move to Antarctica? All right, gang, I think we're going to shut this down this evening. We've been on for just over an hour. Love to give the camera to McMurray and let him talk about what he's got going on. We lost him here for a minute. I think he's having some connection problems right there. But I want to keep building on that when, McMurray can like I say, he could sell a penguin ice cubes. So, my favorite city, by the way, John's Indianapolis. But I want to do some more of this stuff. Oh, hell yeah, Thomas. Anytime, brother. You know where I'm at. I'm in the Shenandoah Valley. And I was just up at Gettysburg the other day. Anytime you want to come to VA, we will hook up. No doubt about that. We'll go to any of these places that we want to get to. I love this. I love living here. So come on by. All right, gang, we're going to shut this thing down for the night. Appreciate all you guys showing up. Richard, thanks for you and getting those games to me. If any of y'all out there are looking for something weird, send me a message of what it is and who it's by you're looking for, and I'll send it off. I'll send your email off to Richard, and he'll dig and find what he's got. But if you send me the name of the game that I want, I'm gonna tell him it's for me before I tell him it's for you. All right, tell him. All right, good night, gang. Appreciate it. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye. Bye.